Welcome, everybody. We are live. This is Loud and Proud Orlando. My name is Luis Carlos Pineda. It's Monday, May the 9th, 8:39 p.m. Thank you so much to everybody that's joining us. Um, Today, Monday, like every Monday at 8:30 here at LPO. Thank you so much for all your support. As always, an eventful a couple games. I'll say a couple of games because I had to cover two games this weekend. We had first and foremost Orlando City falling 4-1. It was what we deemed in Spanish a goleada, right? Against a very tough Montreal team. Another flashback from the New York Red Bulls game. We'll talk about that and more. And also Orlando Pride. Orlando Pride won their first game in 2022. It was a great performance defensively by the women. The Pride of Orlando, pretty much. Great performance from Leah Pruitt and Sid Leroux and everybody. Peterson, Gunny John's daughter. A great performance by the Pride of Orlando. So very happy about that. We'll talk about the dupe, right? We'll talk about Philadelphia. We'll also talk about the U.S. Open Cup and also Gaston Gonzalez. There's some news. We'll analyze what happened in Montreal, right? What truly happened in Montreal? I don't know. Putting it into words is just so hard for everybody that read our article. It was tough to put it in words, honestly. What we saw. Good performance for me. Thomas Williams, despite the yellow card that he got, I think he showed a lot of personality, a lot of promising future for the young center back. And we'll talk about this and more. So, Dave, how are you, my friend? Happy Monday.
Thank you, my brother. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everybody had a very productive Monday, a good weekend, Mother's Day on Sunday. So I hope that all the moms out there had a meaningful and good day. And that you got a gift that it wasn't cookware or a vacuum cleaner or anything like that. Those are awful Mother's Day gifts.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to do that.
Watch the game Saturday. Let's start with that. Watch the game Saturday, and like we have said here before, we felt that the priority was going to be for Tuesday. So no surprise for the result. And you're gonna lose games. We got the best out of Montreal the last two games, and we just happened to lose this one. And for those that undervalue the contributions of Antonio Carlos and Robin Jansen, there you go. Our defense, which was the one of the top three in the league in the first five games of the season, now is showing what happens when you take out Antonio Carlos. Antonio Carlos for what practically looks like the whole season, and you don't have a Robin Jansen there. I felt that defensively, what we had was a wild man and Rodrigo Schlegel, guy that needs to learn leadership. Obviously, that comes with time. And also a guy that is a free spirit and goes out there. When you have an experienced center back, you can cover for the mistakes. You can wrangle that guy back. Unfortunately, his partner is a young 17-year-old kid. In my opinion, Thomas Williams dealt with the situation the best he could. He is talented. Well, the one thing, while talent is something that you're born with, the one thing that you are not born with is experience. And that's obviously he's going to be getting as time goes by. In my opinion, if at 17, the guy can start consistently in MLS, to me, that's a win. That tells me that the future is very bright. Not upset about the game. We look disjointed, lack of focus. Like I said, we make some switches for this game. Defensively, like I said, we had our center back pairing. Maybe we escape with a point. Maybe we win the game. But this is a lot of maybes. Unfortunately, the result is what it is. So we move forward now to what's going to be the rest of the week, which is obviously the Open Cup against Union, and then Saturday visiting Toronto.
Well, it was a tough result, as the picture that
Well,
we made here. It was a 4-1, result. Everybody can check out the article I wrote on loudandproudorlando.com. Pretty much, Orlando City got clobbered. There was really nothing more to say. The back line pretty much allowed Montreal to easily find the win. In my opinion, Joao Moutinho, it's one of the best players in Orlando City right now. I think his level is being overlooked by a lot of people, a lot of fans. I think that a lot of fans don't realize that the high level he's playing, and he scored his second goal of the campaign. Then also Jake Mulraney, the newcomer, he arrived into practice on Friday, and I think he did a great job. I mean, I
guy's a
think
baller.
that the goal from Moutinho came through a play that he started. So we'll talk about that more. And then I liked some of the positives. I like Thomas Williams, how he guarded Romel Kyoto in the first half. I think and we mentioned this in the actual podcast, in the preview, a week ago, and we said if Thomas comes out of this game neutralizing Romel Kyoto and not having him score, I think we have a center back that has a lot of poise and a lot of control, and very good recuperating the ball. And I think that's the type of center back we saw for Thomas Williams. A lot of people I know for a fact do not agree. I actually commend Orlando City for using the OCB as a as choices to definitely put in the front line in case somebody goes down, right? Kids like Brendan Hackenberg, and many more that they can actually tap in anytime and use from OCB. Good to see that. I think one of the toughest things that I saw from the beginning in this game was, and that's something that Pareja needs to take notes on, is the high press, right? So people are noticing that Orlando's game is on the flanks. When you pressure the flanks of Orlando and you press high, you make Orlando make a lot of mistakes turning over the ball, and this occurred throughout the game. A lot of the turnovers and a lot of the goals that came from Montreal on this game were because of turnovers, in my opinion. So I think they need to find a way that they need to go forward, not backward. Even the attackers, right? It's great to pass the ball 30 million times and have possession throughout 90 minutes, but what's the point of possessing the ball so much if your flanks are not working out and you're turning over the ball, and then you have players that had a hell of a game, and I'm going to mention them. They're actually on this side right here. Right on the left side of Montreal, you had Mihailovic, Lasilapainen, and then Kamal Miller. So I think these three were very good. I think Kamal Miller had a great game defensively. Lassie as well. He always played well against Orlando. We mentioned it in the preview a week ago. And then on the other side, their right flank, these three played phenomenal. Torres, Johnston, and Waterman. And you see, so they pretty much knew we press high, we go up in transition, we press them high, we'll force them to make mistakes. They'll turn over the ball, and then we'll go in the attack. And that's exactly what happened. That was their success for Montreal. So I think those are the things that I believe the coaching staff needs to take a look at and definitely assess and make sure that, I know Montreal right now is playing at a very high level. I don't want to knock them down. I think they're having a very exciting team. But, losing through that big margin, it bothers a lot of fans, and I totally understand why they feel so upset. But we're still fourth. I mean, we're still in playoff contention. but and we have a lot of injuries, and we just got to make sure that uh, that momentum is not lost, because Orlando doesn't have a lot of time to think about losing now, because they have a really big game against Philly tomorrow, which we'll be there. I think it's Orlando City Communications. We'll be there, and then after that, you got to fly to Canada, back to Canada to face Toronto, another tough team, right? Um, you know, I personally believe that some of the substitutions could have maybe waited a little bit, or maybe should have made a little bit earlier. Um, Personally, I would have loved to see again Pato, Torres, and Cara as the front three. That's just my opinion. I would have loved to see them, and I think the mid once one goal came up and Montreal scored, and then they went up. Then they were up 2-0. Then Orlando scored, and then I thought, okay, this is where Orlando's going to switch, and the momentum's going to kick, and that didn't happen. And the reason why it didn't happen is because they knew we're going to press them through the flanks. We know that's their game, and we're gonna do that, and that's what Montreal did. I think tactically, Montreal definitely delivered a great game against Orlando City, and I think definitely their fans benefited from them. What were your thoughts specifically, Dave, regarding some of the players, right? So let's say, for example, this is the original 11, starting 11 for Orlando City. What were your thoughts in the mid, especially Mendes and Araujo? These three, Araujo, Mendes, and Pereira. Do you believe that maybe against Philly we're going to see the same mid?
I will actually take Mendes out and put Urso, just because we need a veteran in there that can get us up. Because the game against Philadelphia is gonna be super tough. Now, if I can digress to Montreal for a second,
Yeah, sure.
Jake Mulraney, who
Uh-huh.
everybody knows came from Atlanta, in my opinion, show a lot of flair, a lot of speed, a lot of fantastic ball control. The rumors are that he asked for a trade. He wasn't happy in Atlanta. He wasn't happy with the philosophy of the manager. Mind you, he got here in 2020 under a different leadership, and the guy spent a ton of time in Scottish football. He's originally from Ireland. Surprise, surprise. He played for my team in England, Stevenage, on loan. All 6 games he played for Stevenage were wins. He actually scored a goal, and I was telling Luis before we started recording, the goal basically was a carbon copy of the goal that Facundo scored in Adelaide Galaxy. He seems like the guy wants to be here, and I know a lot of fans think that every Atlanta player lives the rivalry, and I'm sorry to tell you that this guy doesn't care. This guy wants to be here. The attitude that his wife had on Twitter tells me that they are over the moon at the fact that they are here, and that sort of rubs the wrong way those fans, because those people couldn't pack the bags faster. With that said, um, when it comes to our attack, it was concerning. Kara was completely isolated. Corn, Pato the same way. We just couldn't do anything to get the ball to him. He's his own description. He's a traditional number nine, a target player. He's not gonna create his own shots, so he's heavily dependent on service. And what Montreal did beautifully was they clogged the channels. We couldn't get those filter passes that we like to do with Mauricio Pereira, and our wing was very predictable. When we actually got ahead, trying to become dangerous, was when Jake Mulraney came in, and I actually have a statistic that is scary. Uh, 20 shots for Montreal, 2 for Orlando. On
Yeah,
target 10 for
right here.
Montreal, 1 for Orlando. So that right there, that tells you how effective we were in the attack. We were very good with our discipline. Only 2 yellows for us versus 4, and but they have a lot of corners, and that made them dangerous. The first goal came from a corner. We have dealt with corners very good in the past. We're not getting as many, I think, in my opinion, because obviously we were not attacking as much, and therefore we were not forcing the defense to make the mistake. To me, conceding corners is a mistake. Even if you're clearing the ball away, your instinct should always be to the sides, not to the baseline. But sometimes you just have to, right? Um, with that said, I think that the score line does not reflect exactly the game. The second goal definitely was a mistake. We left Pedro's right hand side completely wide open. That's where the goal came in. And at that point, we had all meat on the grill, looking for the equalizer. Unfortunately, well, not for the equalizer, and unfortunately couldn't come. Then in the 72nd minute, um, we put one on the board from a header by João Moutinho, and I felt okay. Well, the equalizer is coming, and unfortunately did not, because on the 81st minute they went ahead 3-1, and at that point the goal that came on the 84th minute was because we were all offense at that point, trying to get a goal just for pride. And I think Pareja is very predictable now with his subs. When you see Andres Perea, or you see Kyle Smith, you already know this is it. This is where we're just gonna either, if we're winning, we're gonna try to secure the result, and if we are losing, we are just trying to lose by little, because
Yeah.
obviously the differential means something. Unfortunately, right now we're -2. But that's what it was. Like I said, in my opinion, the focus is Tuesday. If we win Tuesday, then people will forget about this Saturday. If we lose tomorrow, then obviously people are gonna get upset, and they're gonna be calling for Oscar's head, as they always do.
Well, I mean, what I read on Facebook is appalling, and I definitely believe it doesn't represent the culture of this club that I grew loving since inception. Um, because I mean, what I read is just unbelievable. But to kind of turn the page and just look into the game a little bit more, I want to say, in my opinion, and I wrote it also this on my article, Pereira was the one who assisted Joao Moutinho, who scored that header. So whoever's saying that Pereira it's not playing well, he just gave you a great performance the game before this one, and he had an assist. So I don't know, again, that's another, obviously, another result nobody wants. I think these players are gonna come out to definitely compete against Philly, because again, no professional player comes out just to say, "Hey, today, I feel like losing today." No, no, no. Everybody wants to compete. Um, and another thing was, everybody was hoping for that Orlando City momentum after the goal, and it did not happen. The Lions just lost the midfield completely throughout the game. It's on the stats, you could see it. And one thing that I think Orlando truly needs to hone on and definitely get better is the turnover. It just became a turnover galore, and it just made it easy for Montreal to stay compact and retreat and retract when Orlando was going into transition play, into transition. Easy for them to defend as a block, and then it was also because they were turning over the ball. it was easier for them to go to the counter. So it just made it easier, and that's how the goals came about. In the 81st minute, Torres scored. Torres from Montreal. I had a great game, and then the Broad Gilliard also scored 3 minutes later after a ball that was turned over by Orlando's mid. And he just went into transition, and then he just hit the ball past Pedro Galese, and that's how the score ended, 4-1. And to me, those two goals came due to turnovers. That's the best way I could put it. And I think, like Dave was saying, we need to focus. They don't have a lot of time to focus. I mean, even Oscar Pareja said, we really, we got to take responsibility. He took responsibility of this result, of course. He even said it. And I have the image here for the press conference. He said, I take responsibility of what happened, and I think, we're going to definitely focus on what's coming next, which is Philly. We're still, nobody wants to lose with that big of a margin. But, then he expressed, a good feeling regarding the newcomers. Thomas Williams having their first full 90 with the first team, and then Jake Mulraney. And he just said, we don't have time to really cry over the spoiled milk, right? We got to move forward. And the best way, he mentioned we need to prove ourselves and the fans that we're now this type of team is by winning against Philly, right? So they know that. So, I'm hoping that tomorrow we see that, right? Dave? Are you there?
Sorry, I got distracted. No. I agree with you 100%. The fact of the matter is, Montreal is a Canadian team. The Canadian Championship is super easy, to the point where Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto just take turns taking this trophy that their fans don't even get excited about, because they win it so many times. So they are not under the same pressure as we were. They were at home. Dropping points over there really did not affect our campaign. Would I love to win there and win Tuesday? Of course, absolutely. But like I said on Twitter, to the people that follow me, the fact of the matter is that the restrictions that MLS puts on the squads prevents us from having this 40, 50, 60 player squads, where we can, have players playing this tournament, players playing this other tournament, and players playing the league. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So we had to rotate. We had to prioritize. Open Cup, my friends, is $300,000 for the winner, a spot in the CCL. Okay, a spot that could be conducive to a spot in the Club World Cup, and prestige. There's prestige in the Lamar Hunt Trophy. It's the oldest trophy in the United States. You're a champion of your country. You have defeated teams from other leagues in order to get there. I don't understand this this infatuation with the fact that if you're not an MLS Cup champion, you're not a champion at all. I think the Supporter Shield deserves a lot of praise for that. But unfortunately, in MLS, you only get a star if you are the MLS Cup champion. Which, by the way, not every league does a star. There's, in England, they don't give you a star for that. You know what I'm saying? It reminds you like the little stars that they used to get in kindergarten. And the fact is that for a club that has been in the league for 8 years, we can win 4 games and we can crown ourselves champions. This will do a lot for the psyche of the fan base. We'll put a real, actual, worthy trophy. We're going to grab that Open Orlando City Invitational dog bowl, toss it to the side, and put something worthy in its place. Unfortunately, my friends, like I said, we have to prioritize defeating Montreal, in the great scheme of things, would have been great, but it does not affect our campaign because there's a lot of football to be played. One of the main things that I would like to share with you is I spoke to one of my sources this past weekend because if we can divert out a little bit, Luis, we received official word of what we are getting for the Mueller deal. Information that we didn't have last Monday. Excuse me. We are getting from Chicago a 2023 first round draft pick. We're getting GAM, and we're getting discovery rights for an unnamed player. And again, for a player that we let go on a free, a player that we weren't expecting nothing to get, to get nothing back. And to be said, I spoke with this source who basically had this to say about the backhanded compliment that Hibernian gave Chris, saying that, oh, well, we're sending him back because he couldn't adapt to the physicality and the speed of the Scottish League and all that, which I thought that was pretty underhanded. Um, and our source says this statement was coward exactly because the mentality is that anything in Europe is better than here.
Of course.
Barnsley infrastructure is worse than the guys in Tampa with the Rowdies. Pato gave an interview to a Brazilian TV station yesterday. When asked about the infrastructure, he said Orlando and Milan was comparable, and by far the best he had in his career was right here. And he finishes. But people here listen to 12 men or Lalas who know nothing. So there you go, my friends. This is coming from someone who was born and raised in a culture of football.
I
Uh,
agree with him.
so somebody who is close to our club and somebody that basically it's telling us that we're in a good place, and unfortunately we tend to look at Europe as this the high standard, and then we diminish what we have here. And he finishes with this about Chris. He's a very nice guy. We just have to end our mentality here that going to any place in Europe is better than MLS. If you are going to a big or medium club in a super league, MLS has better talent, more infrastructure, and it's way more competitive. I get the dream, quote unquote, growing up playing FIFA, but players like Chris should never leave MLS. So, food for thought. And one last thing, another source, because here we are not talking to your cousin. We're not talking to a guy in the back of a dark alley for our information. We talk to people that know what they're talking about. And I know most of you go, well, review your sources. Tell me if it's true. I'm like, why would I reveal my sources? Then they don't want to talk to me. My goodness. This is what this source said about one thing that people were fighting online, the green card situation. And he gave me this nugget of information that I did not know. This source says some big players don't like green cards because they have investments abroad, and once having green cards, they have to pay taxes in the US
Ah,
for such
of
investments.
course.
All
You
right.
gotta pay Uncle
So,
Sam, my friend.
yes, that's why Kaká never got a green card.
Makes
So,
sense.
there you have it, friends. I just wanted to share that. I shared this with Luis. This is
Yeah, let
when we
me, I think I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, be honest with you, and I don't want to sound controversial, and I know it could probably sound really bad, but there are leagues in South America that are 10 times better than the Scottish league, in my opinion. Like
Mhm.
The Brazilian league, for example. I
Yeah.
think the level of the Brazilian league is right now. You pair up, let's say Santos, pair him with Celtic or Rangers. Right now, first and foremost, Rangers needs to win the the Europe the Europa League. You know, so Rangers needs to focus on winning the Europa League. And honestly, if it's not Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Hibernian. We don't know anything about any other team unless you're from Scotland. Let's just be completely honest here. Hearts, Hibernian, Celtic, and Rangers. You know, so I mean, I just think I wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
In a country of 5 million people with 3 levels of pyramid. So that's the other thing. We think Scotland is as populated as England. That could be further away from the truth. Like we said last week, 5 million in Scotland, 1.5 in Northern Ireland, and in Wales, 56 million in England. That's why going to Scotland, the Scottish League was pointless for Mueller.
And another thing, the championship, the championship, British Championship, the champion right now, if they play against the top 3 of Scotland, they can beat them. I can tell you right now, $20. $20. Honestly, it is true. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying the Scottish League. I think Mueller's move back into the MLS, in my opinion, it could definitely benefit him because he's coming back to a league that he already knows how to play.
Going home.
Not only that, 2026 is around the corner. I think his goal is now the national team. So he's going to have to show what he's all about. And I think in Chicago, he's going to have, he's going to be that person that's going to be like, people are going to say, okay, you came from Europe. Now you have to show us what you can do. And so I think when you put a player like Chris Mueller, that is a very strong-minded, strong-willed player, he's going to give his all, to play for that particular club that is actually, and their fans are maybe doubting him, right? You failed.
Especially after they gave so much.
Right. So I think we'll see what happens with Chris Mueller. Wish him the best. Let's read some comments and then switch to the next topic.
Absolutely. Because I got
Antonio Rodriguez, he says, what are you guys' opinion on Papi, aka Pareja? I am torn. Sometimes he can make mistakes and I seem to question him a decent amount of times, but I know when he gets it right, then he's really good. Dave, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have said it before on social media. My opinion of Oscar Pareja, the person, is very high. As a human being, as a manager of men, as a football, somebody that makes a living from football, he's very good. Has he had the opportunity to work with a team of high caliber players? He's getting it now. I think when he came in into a place in disarray. It reminds me of that meme that you see the guy coming back, leaves the apartment, excuse me, comes back with a pizza and everything is on fire or whatever. That's exactly what Oscar Pareja walked into. We had a lot of problems with our physical conditioning. We had a lot of players that were getting hurt out of nothing and never staying fit, then go to other leagues and other teams and have a rebirth. He has stabilized the ship. In my personal opinion, emotions to the side, Oscar Pareja has this season to prove that we have made the advancement. We poured $22 million into the roster. That's why it's so critical for him to go deep into the Open Cup and win it, and for us to go into the playoffs and have some success. Personally, I just don't think that we're quite there to win MLS Cup because we're not scoring. We have deficiencies in that area. Obviously, we will have to get all our injured players. Gaston Gonzalez, which we're going to be talking about in a minute, was something that was not planned. And lastly, if the Will family gives him another chance, it will be one more year. Because at that point, he will have right now. This is his third season. Next year will be fourth. If they give him that opportunity, at some point you have to say, okay, let's reevaluate. Is this the right guy for us? Other teams like Philadelphia and Kansas City had stood the test of time with their managers. Seattle's another team that has basically been steady with their managers, and success has come their way. So We, as a club, we have never had that stability. We had it with Vinci. We fired him. I know people close to the club always tells me that was the right decision. As a fan, I disagree wholeheartedly. I know many of you disagree with me, and that's fine. We can all disagree and be friends. We don't have to be 100%. I keep telling that to people all the time. But um, that's my perception of them. That Pareja. Long-winded answer, Luis.
Yeah, definitely. Let's keep reading comments here. Jim D, we had several problems with tactics during several matches this season.
I agree.
I mean, I agree. I think we need to, like Dave was saying, be a little bit less predictable, and just in my opinion, you still need to make sure that your flanks are working because that's what drives Orlando's football. Right now. Also taking the positives out of this game, even though there's so little, are that we have a future center back that could be a possible U.S. men's national team center back at some point.
Easy, Jason Christ.
Um, and the positives, another positive is you know taking advantage of the set piece, which is what Orlando did in this game. They had a set piece and they took advantage of it. Not a lot of times Orlando has done that this season. So those are a little bit of positives. Now, we need to accentuate the good towards the next game, in my opinion, and move forward because we don't really, Orlando doesn't have a lot of time to think about, oh my God, what are we going to do next, right? They got to just go there, lace up their boots and win, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Eduardo Rodriguez, portero del mes, MLS Next Pro, Javier Otero. Yeah, he's...
Yep, still one of my the talking points. Absolutely.
What a player.
The Venezuelan Javier Otero, MLS Next Pro goalkeeper of the month. Anybody that has seen any game for Orlando City B, the guy is the real deal. We have very, very good goalkeeper in the future.
Sure.
I am afraid to say that if Pedro Gales decides to walk away, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando has pretty good keepers, in my opinion, and I think Otero is definitely making his way. I think just to say Venezuelan national team, hey guys, you have a keeper right here that's killing it. If Wilker Fariñez he doesn't want to come and play, you have this guy, and keep an eye on him, and also to the U.S. national team too. I think he's playing at a very high level. I'm super proud and happy for him, and good for OCB as well. And that is a product of our academy, of Orlando City Academy. So I mean, look at that. It's a win-win. Jim D, I was driving across the state during the match. It was funny listening to it on the radio. Hardly a mention of our players. When our players were mentioned, it was short due to turnovers.
It was a bad game. It was a bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
we
was a
can't
horrible game.
really, in order to find good here, we have to sift through a pile of dung, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we shouldn't really. There's a lot of things that have been said on on social media about. It's funny because, I totally understand the. No fan wants to see the team lose this way, right?
Yep.
I totally agree, but just throwing. It seems like there's some passive aggressiveness with with Orlando City that I don't see in other fan bases. I'll be honest with you. Like when Seattle lost in the CCL last year, I didn't see, hey, Schmelzer, get out,
But they
beat it.
already have two MLS Cups, a bunch of Open Cups. I mean, in all
Right,
honesty, they have some
right.
silverware to fall back.
No, right, but still, I mean, honestly, I mean, let's be completely honest. I mean, when Real Salt Lake, I mean, got into also the final, this is years back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say. People are throwing away the season. People are, and I understand college football is huge. You can't apply the same mentality of college football to soccer, unfortunately. The beautiful thing about this game is that the smallest club can beat you and you can defeat the biggest club with the highest momentum possible. Orlando could be going through a three losing slump, and then beat the CCL champs. We can now go to Lumen Field and beat the Sounders. That's the beautiful thing about the game.
It's
You know,
cruel and unpredictable, my friend. It
you
is,
know.
and to give you guys an analogy, this past weekend in League Two in England, that's the fourth division, the second automatic promotion spot was stolen when a team played the last team in the league that was already relegated. They needed 7 goals to snatch that spot, and that's exactly what they got, and people were mad and people were appealing. But my friends, that's how it is. Nobody would have thought that at the beginning of the year that calendar was just gonna work for them beautifully like that. That's what football is. Football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck, and sometimes things are gonna happen like that. Talking about luck, Luis.
There's
We got in the internets, my friend. There's a rumor that I was unable to confirm because our sources in Argentina don't want to get muddied up. Don't want to get upset with the don't want the team to be upset with them. This is the situation. According to the group that covers all the Unión de Santa Fe fans. The club is fan owned. So when you're a season ticket holder, you're an associate. You're basically you have voting rights. If you've been part of a church, synagogue, mosque, if you ever been part of a credit union, you already know the deal. Once a year they have the meeting, and you get to hear how the organization is spending their money and all that good stuff. And the fans want they are demanding that Union lets them know exactly what happened when Orlando City renegotiated the contract. This is what's on the streets right now. That we are paying $1.5 million less for the player. That's one thing. Two, that the resale value is going to be 20% instead of 30%, and three, that the player is going to be signed for an extra year. Today, that's if you're for those that are listening, we have on the screen pictures that are coming from Gaston Gonzalez Instagram. You see him there. Number 22 is gonna be his number next year. He's holding he's wearing the home colors, and he's holding his away jersey. All the guys sign a ball, send it to him, which I thought was a fantastic gesture from our players. The other thing is we sent a doctor, like we said last week, from Orlando City to oversee the surgery. The surgery was also was a success. They're waiting for the swelling to go down. Later on this week, we'll be having a timetable on his recovery. One thing that we have heard unconfirmed is that Gaston is going to be flying to Orlando in July to continue his rehabilitation here, which makes sense. He's our player. But like I said, the main situation is that the team is holding close to talking about is holding close to their chest the sale of the player, because a lot of fans are like, hey, we already knew that we were. This is, by the way, at the lower price, quote unquote. Gaston Gonzalez is the biggest sale for Union in their history, and this is a club that is old. It's a 19th century club, so it's the biggest sale in their history. And of course, they are upset that hey, we could have made more money, but we overplayed the player. We never gave him the rest, and he got injured. We should have pulled him away on a meaningless game. We were already losing. There was nothing to be gained, and of course, the player got affected. Orlando City, like we said, had the opportunity to walk away, stood by the player. One of our sources close to Orlando City said, we're going to do what's right for the player and for the club. There you have it. This week, officially, Orlando City acknowledges that Gaston Gonzalez is a Lion. And this past week, obviously, Unión de Santa Fe confirmed the sale. Right now, we will continue to monitor the situation to see if indeed this rumor about the sale. To me, it doesn't matter If we get the
Oh,
if we get a player for cheap, of course, beautiful game, beautiful gain and beautiful negotiation tactics by Luis Musi and Ricardo Moreira. But obviously, it's on Union. They had this player. They insisted on keeping for getting the club qualified for Sudamericana, and they broken. So there has to be consequences for.
well, I mean, he's a outstanding prospect in my opinion. South America, a lot of clubs have been monitoring, not just Orlando City. The best player in his squad for sure. He had a really amazing goodbye ceremony right before this picture was taken. He got his jersey framed, and is gonna be at the museum, and a sold out crowd for Union de Santa Fe was you know cheering his name, and he's a very well liked player. Just
Mhm.
like Facundo Torres is for Peñarol, I think that he's the same from Union for sure. And
Absolutely, Luis.
honestly, he's a product of their academy. You know, he even did a giveaway for his jersey before he left.
Sure did.
So to thank the fans. So I think we're getting a player not only mentally a very young player, a very mentally strong player, just like Facundo. That they played like they've been playing soccer forever, right? And we're getting immediate, in my opinion, him 100% an immediate boost on that left flank.
Oh, absolutely. And
Like absolutely.
I would like to read his message underneath the pictures that he posted. And if you allow me, I will obviously have to translate. So he says here, thank you to everybody that showed their support and strength during this operation. Everything was great. Thank you very much to all the doctors that did an incredible job. Now it's time to start thinking about rehab and to return to the pitch. And he tags Orlando City with a lion and the U.S. flag. And of course, he has about 400 um, comments, 8,000 well wishes. So obviously, this is a guy that the tragedy of this is we need him right now, Luis. But unfortunately,
Right.
football is again cruel and unpredictable. But when this guy returns next year, it's going to be something special.
For sure, I have no doubt. And just going on to before we switch to Philly and talk about what's going to come next, another newcomer to the squad has been Jake Mulraney, right? I mean,
Hmm.
Irish international. I think he gave a lot of. He had a couple of bright spots in the Montreal game. I mean, obviously, no one wants to come into the team brand new. He flew into. He even mentioned it in the post press conference. He actually started practicing with the team on Friday, and then he was put into the game right on. The game against
Correct.
Montreal right away, and then I think he showed a lot of bright spots, and happy for him. Hopefully against Philly, we can see more of him.
Hmm.
On that left flank.
Oh, definitely, he needs to start on
Yeah,
Tuesday, in my opinion.
for sure. And so and we'll do our starting 11 also right about before we end
And Luis,
the
one
show
quick
today.
thing: his last game with Atlanta was at Montreal, so back-to-back games at Montreal, all losses.
Wow. One thing is, he did say, there was a journalist was in the post game presser with me, and he asked, how do you feel, coming and playing in Orlando after being in Atlanta? We're rivals, and he kind of got a little bit. He didn't like the question. I could definitely tell. He said, "I'm here to play football. I do not care who it is for. I am here to play and to contribute to Orlando." That's exactly what he said. He ended it
Good,
like that.
good, good, good. Because
You know,
some people need to understand that players operate on a different spectrum.
And then Oscar Pareja regarding him and Thomas Williams, he said Jake has been a good addition to the squad. he can give us a change of pace, which is what we saw against Montreal. He came in and boom, he was that boost we needed to create attacking plays. And then Thomas Williams, he did a lot of good things, which makes him grow. I'm very proud of him and his performance. He's a young man with a lot of personality and has a promising career. Those are words verbatim
Great.
from Oscar Pareja. But I think he did. I think he did great. I'm looking forward to see what he can do next. Especially in this game against Philadelphia, which is going to be tough. Indeed, I think it's going to be tough. What were your thoughts regarding Mulraney? I like the
Well,
fact that he's an Irish international too.
yeah, Irish international, playing in the championship, played in League Two with the tricky Reds of Stevenage. So that right there, I asked a lot of my friends there in the team. I even asked the CEO of Stevenage their opinion of the guy. It was 2015, 2016, but there was quite a few people that still remember him. Hard worker, very humble guy, guy that loves football. He immediately and the fans get fall in love with the guy. I see that the Atlanta fans were devastated, and their devastation was genuine. And but like I said, if rumors are true, which everything leads to believe that they are, because when interviewed, the player said that they didn't realize that he was gone until they just told him. And so he asked out. He wanted to come here, and obviously this would have not happened had Gonzalez had
Juan
not got hurt.
Gonzalez.
But it's a fantastic stopgap. If he does very well, then he has a place here. And if you are listening to us on the screen there, we see the teams that he has played for, the recent ones. So the Dagenham and Redbridge, they were in League Two at the time. They're now they're in non-league. They're in the National League. They've been relegated. Stevenage League Two, Hearts of Midlothian, which is First Division, Scottish,
Scottish.
Inverness Caledonian. I believe those folks are Second Division, Scottish at this time. I could be wrong. And then, of course, Atlanta United.
Right. I mean, and you can see a pattern, right? The pattern here is he loves to assist.
Mm-hmm.
I think his most successful season was when he played in Heart, in the
Yeah,
Hearts of
10 goals.
Midlothian.
Wow.
He had 10 assists and two
Oh,
goals.
10 assists. Okay, I'm sorry.
But you have to understand, assists to me, I count them as goals because if there are goal assists, these are
Yes,
goal assists. Those
great goals. Yeah.
those definitely count. And so that means that he can create plays in attack, which is exactly what Orlando needs, especially
Mm-hmm.
on the flanks. We appreciate every single player that's on the flanks right now, but I think Orlando needs to create more on those two flanks, or at least um, channel and make sure that we have the proper strategy to pass the ball around in the mid and not to lose and not to turn it over, because that's what's happening.
Yep.
Teams are coming, physically pressing Orlando's mid drops the ball back, and then they lose it. And then teams go in transition attack and counter, and then Orlando pays the price, right? And I think a player like him, we've seen him how he's defending. He came in with a lot of energy. I can only expect that. I'm sure he wants to definitely do better than what he did in Atlanta. Again, I don't think any player in the world comes to any team or any employer of theirs and say, "Yeah, I just want to do the same thing I did in the last club." They just want to do the same thing. And no, they have aspirations. They want to do better. And I believe, hopefully, that he can definitely be a change of pace player, just like Oscar Pareja said. So
Mm-hmm.
happy with the signing because, again, what other player were we going to get for that amount of money?
And
Or
it's such short notice too.
right, Adrian Winter, or who? Nobody. I
Yeah.
mean, we I think they did, and they looked a player that said, "Look, 10 assists with heart. Maybe has gone to a not so great organization like Atlanta. Okay, we can definitely provide it a better
And a
infrastructure.
guy that wanted out. Let's not
Right,
forget
a
that
guy
he wanted out.
a guy that wanted out, and Irish international, check, check, check. I mean,
Hmm.
why
And
not, right?
and I gotta tell you, Atlanta's not gonna do us any favors. So for them to send this guy for a bag of peanuts, because that's what we pay for him, it's hurting them. But again, you run the risk of not trading a guy, and the guy says, "Oh, you don't want to trade me? Okay, guess what? I'm gonna lay an egg the rest of the season." You don't want to have people like that in your locker room. So again, to our friends, that he played for Atlanta is, to me, is inconsequential. He already said he's a Lion. He's here to play. Just like when our guys had gone to Atlanta, and Atlanta fans love him, and I mean, Mister, he scores when he wants. Don Dwyer's over there. People forget that.
That's right. Colin Garvey says, and I want to thank him too for watching us. I like Benji as a player, but I think Mulraney might be a little more consistent on the left wing. Perhaps Benji finds his way back to a striker depth.
Mm,
I wholeheartedly agree with him.
I agree. I agree.
You know, nothing. I think what I notice about Benji is he's gotten a little better in the 1v1, but I just think he just needs to make sure there's a disconnect with either the right flank and the person right at top, and some of the passes, especially when going the attack, is passing it back, or the or the cross goes to the rival team, a turnover, right?
Hmm.
So I think we need to kind
Benji
of
knows.
right.
Benji knows that
So
the writing's on the wall. He already said at the beginning of the year that he knew that it was a make it or break it year. He probably has already been sat down, been called to the carpet, and told, Benji, you've seen what we have done to other homegrowns. They are no longer here. This is the time. I think he's a talented player. He just needs to find his shtick, what he does well, and consistently do that. A lot of people give Teshua Kindle a lot of crap, but I'm sorry, when you have 10 minutes and you have to secure a result, you put Teshua Kindle there with that fantastic hold up game that he has. We win the game or we secure the result. The fact of the matter is that in this team we need a lot of piano carriers, a lot of piano tuners, and a lot of piano players. Just because you don't have a certain skill set, if you built on what you can do very well, eventually the organization goes through. I always use the example when I served in the Navy. For every when I was stationed on an aircraft carrier, for every time an airplane took off, there was 5,000 sailors and Marines behind that particular aircraft, making sure that they got their job done to keep that weapon up in the air. And that's what we have here, my friends. We have a lot of players that have skill sets for particular tasks, particular situations, and not everybody's gonna be a star. Not, I don't understand this infatuation that people have of trying to create animosity where there's none, and trying to dismiss players. I would love for most of you to go out there and run for 90 minutes. And with this, I give the microphone to Luis. My English team, Stevenage, grab 11 players this past week, 11 former players, and let them play with 11 super fans. And what the super fans found out, what the season ticket holders found out, was that a player 5 years retired from the game can still kick your butt. The game ended 8-2. So a lot of you that love to grab a hot dog with one hand and a beer with the other, if you're put on the pitch with some of these guys, maybe you will find out how difficult this game is.
sure, and I just believe that it's going to they Orlando has the advantage that they have an actual team that's been playing together for a longer time,
Mhm.
for longer than most clubs in the East. I just think that Orlando needs to the new pieces that they're adding. They need to adapt right away to the system.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes it does take time, but I mean, we're still fourth in the league, fourth in the East. We can still get up if we win this next couple of games. If we beat Toronto, if Orlando beats Toronto, they remain they could remain fourth or go up a notch.
Hmm.
So it's just trying to um, get the positive and fix it. Right. I think that's going to be the most important part for every single
Absolutely.
player. All right. So let's see. Jim D says, "How about that Falcons NFL turf wrecking their weekend renters' Achilles? Crazy what's happening up there."
Yeah, that turf. We said it. A lot of us did. If you guys remember, Citrus Bowl ate a lot of legs for Orlando City, and at the time, the guys that discovered football in 2017 were telling us that we were jealous that it was a majestic structure, which is it's a beautiful stadium. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful NFL stadium, but that turf is starting to claim victims, and they're gonna continue to do what's wrong 2, 3 seasons until once they realize that the magic of the cup is gone and that their team is walking ambulance, mobile hospital. Then you're gonna see this, and then this is gonna affect their recruiting, my friends, because no one. What happened to their center back, Miles? What's his name? That is with the national team as well.
Miles Robinson.
Miles
Miles
Robinson. Thank
Robinson.
you.
Yeah. What a pity, man.
Fantastic player,
Unbelievable.
good kid. I so
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
devastated.
Great player.
This guy had the dream of playing in a World Cup, and he has been
Wow.
snatched away from it. Now, some people are saying that he still has time to come back from the injury.
Hopefully.
That he probably will need 172 days to recover. There's 196 before the World Cup. I hope he can make that. Independently that he plays for Atlanta. I have spoken with him when the US have played here in Orlando. Super nice guy. A young kid, and again, who doesn't want to represent their country? So I wish him the best. But Atlanta, it's gonna have to learn the hard way that they can play on the surface. One of the things I wanted to talk about is obviously Open Cup. We're going against Philadelphia Union in our pod. We could have played Tormenta, who's USL League One, and of course we didn't get that team. We got the toughest one, but like a lot of people that like to see the silver lining in things, like myself, if we defeat the Philadelphia Union, then we really can defeat anybody. These guys are number one in the East at the moment with 19 points. That's 2 more points than Orlando. They're coming after the weekend, 2-2 draw at LAFC. Their current form in the league is 5-1-4. That's 5 wins, 1 loss, 4 ties. They match very well with Orlando. They have a lot of dangerous scorers. It's going to be a cagey match. In my opinion, what's going to be in our favor is the fact that we really didn't show up on Saturday, so we should be fresh. Two, we're at home. This is their second away game of the week, and they went all the way to the West Coast. And last, I spoken with Philadelphia Union fans that say that it depends who shows up. If Union feels like, hey, this year we want to try for regaining the supporter shield and we want to be MLS champions, they may throw the towel on this one. Good for us. If they decide to show up and play hard, it's going to be a cagey match that we have to win because, again, we sacrificed the points on Saturday. And in my opinion, the Toronto game is not going to be as difficult as what Montreal was. So I expect us to throw everything in the attack. My prediction: whoever scores first wins this game, and whoever scores first is gonna park the bus because at that point they already got what they needed, and they're gonna try to secure for the weekend. And as a team like us that doesn't score a lot of goals and loves those 1-0 results, the football gods may be smiling up on us this Tuesday night.
I want to definitely agree with you in a couple of things. I want to say that there's a couple of players that definitely need to look out for in this game. And obviously, having a solid back line is going to be key. I think we'll see Robin back for sure, hopefully. And with Rodrigo and Ruan and Joao Moutinho. I think that's going to be the back four, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We need to watch out for, and I'm going to bring here their last lineup against LA. And first and foremost, Jose Martinez, no? We'll call him El Brujo Martinez. A player that every time he's played with Orlando, he has had a great performance. And what can he give you? He is a very bothersome midfielder that can also go as a false nine at sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But he's always good being that in the 1v1, trying to take that ball away from you. He's a very physical player, and that's why he always gets a couple yellows, and he's a little bit injury prone. If he, but he always plays with a lot of heart, right? And he's very bothersome. Another player, and it's going to be the captain, is going to be Alejandro Vedoja, right? I think Alejandro
Mm-hmm.
Vedoja, when he's
When
uh,
he's on, he's on.
he's on, and he's very savvy, and his passing is just great. I think his crosses are very good, and who benefits from those crosses? Julian Carranza, former Inter Miami player. He wants to score against Orlando for sure. He's actually in a very good level right now, in my opinion, one of the best players in Philly right now. We need to definitely watch out. He comes from scoring against LAFC, and a player that we need to definitely keep an eye on is it's number 6, but he plays as a 10, which is Daniel Gastag, Hungarian international. He's played every single level for youth in Hungary, and youth U13s, 15s, 17s, 20, and the national team too. So, and he's coming here to the MLS because he wants to go back to Europe, and he
Mm-hmm.
feels the MLS is that going to be what's going to catapult him. And he's been having a great season so far. Great season. He's been the wheel for their attack. One of the wheels in their attack. The ball passes through his feet for Philly to go in transition. So those are a couple of players that we need to take a look on from their back line. I say obviously Jacob Glasnes. He's been playing on a very high level, and but we also, I think Orlando needs to look into themselves too and say, how do we stop this team? They're playing so well. Um, they're top of the East. What's the trick, right? And it's making sure that you are containing their mid. You're making sure that you're the one generating, keeping possession,
Mm-hmm.
and do your game. Do your game. Use your speed, because Harriel and Wagner, yes, they're fast players, but on the wings we have faster players, in my opinion, Moutinho and Ruan. So we need to definitely take advantage of that, and I'm hoping that Orlando wakes up out of obviously this loss and is able to definitely capitalize against this team, right?
You
Because
are at home. You're at home fighting for a trophy, win or go home. I mean, at this point, the players know what's at stake, and they need to play accordingly come Tuesday.
that's right. I also want to give a shout out to Sofia Testa. She's a photographer, and she takes really great pictures for Philadelphia Union. She's a Philadelphia Union fan. She's going to be joining us probably next month because we're going to see Philly again, this time for the MLS. She's going to be definitely working with LPO when Philly plays, when Orlando travels to Philly to play in the next couple of months. She's going to be taking pictures for us. And also, I want to give her a shout out. Then she's going to be invited into the show. She already knows. And we're going to discuss, she has more insight and regarding the team and how she sees Philly. She's been following Philly for many years. I'm a huge fan of the Dupe. So just want to say hello to her if she's watching. So, but it's going to be a tough game. But I think Orlando needs to wake up out of this slump.
Hmm.
and just move forward and push forward. What better way to not only silence the the passive aggressiveness of some people, or the crowd, or how do you prove yourself that you can definitely move forward winning? This is the
You
only
beat the man.
that's
To
the
be the
only
man, you beat the man.
that's the only way. That's the only way. And hopefully that's the case.
Hmm.
That way we get Orlando travels back to Canada, and go and faces Toronto, and hopefully get the W away, right?
Yeah, Toronto's not doing very well. They're coming from a loss away at Vancouver. So again, they're gonna be pretty worn out, in my opinion. There's their position on the table is really bad. 12 at the moment, with a record of 3-6-2, 3 wins, 6 losses, 2 ties. The series does not reflect the situation that Toronto finds itself in, because they dominate 8 wins, 3 ties, and 4 losses to Orlando. But of course, those 8 wins were created during the Giovinco era, when we really were very bad. Toronto right now, the last 3 games that we have played against them, 1-1 tie, 3-2 victory for Orlando, 1-0, 1-0 victory for Orlando. In my opinion, we can definitely go to Toronto, where we have never won. Mind that, where we have never won, and go and make history and finally take all 3 points out of the Reds from the province of Ontario. In my opinion, this team is experiencing some bad juju at the moment. If we can win Tuesday with the win behind our sails, I think we can snatch 3 points there and recalibrate our north in the league.
Exactly. And if Orlando wins the next game, if Orlando wins away, and then Montreal, the Red Bulls, and Philly loses, we're top of the we're top of the East.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying, guys. I mean, and you gotta look at the positive. We're -2
Yeah, it's
of
wide
goals.
open. It's wide open at the
It's
moment.
it's wide open right now. I mean, it's going to be Red Bulls, Montreal, Philly, Orlando, and look at Cincinnati.
Oh my goodness, where did they came from?
Right? Look at Cincinnati, 16. So, they're only a point away from us, and
My
they're
goodness.
they're 2 points up from New York, right? And look at the squad of New York, and look at the squad of Cincinnati. Just all I'm saying. And how much they spend. These two clubs right here probably have the most money: New York City and Atlanta
For
United. Now look,
sure, for sure.
you know,
And last year's supporter shield winners, look at that, 11th.
and look at Chicago right here.
My goodness,
Yeah,
my goodness.
right.
And Inter Miami, look at Inter Miami.
Look at that.
And
The Herons,
Toronto.
right? The Herons, right?
The I don't know,
The Flamingos.
flamingos or something, some sort of bird that eats in dirty canals with shopping carts in them, I guess.
No, no, but look at that. So I mean, again, nobody wants to lose 4-1, right? And
No, no, of
no,
course
no,
not.
it was a bad performance. I mean, that's the most Solomonic thing I can say.
Listen,
Just
I'm not mad at that we lost. In all seriousness, when it counted, we defeated Montreal. We went to their house, scored a golazo, bumped them out of the playoffs. At the last day of the game of the season. I mean, we embarrassed, humiliated them. We did the same thing here. So they were overdue. They were overdue for a victory. So it's what it is. Reminding all the fans that they came to our house, defeated us in September of last year. I think it was like 4-1, 4-2. And then what happened? Second game of the season, we went to Montreal and we pulled the magic. So, winning and losing to a team, one game does not define a season, does not define a player, does not define a team. That's
and I want to also say, regarding this, that Orlando has the opportunity again to move up. I think as a club we need to move forward, and not throw the season away at this point. I don't think Orlando needs to throw away the season, or change the coach at this time. I think we are applying the winning mentality of hockey, of the Roll Tide Alabama football, and Duke, right? Duke University basketball, right? To soccer, and that's not really, that doesn't apply. Let me be honest with you. It takes time for a team to gel together, and we need
Mhm.
to definitely know a little bit more about that. And that's just my opinion. Let's move forward to the last topic of what we need to talk today. Orlando Pride, right? They won their first game at
Sidney
home.
Naru with that
Yeah,
golazo.
yeah. I mean, you're talking about a team that's gone through a lot of ups and downs. And I want to say, Coach Cromwell, she was the one who she was minority owner of Angel FC, which is the team that they played, and she pretty much, to get the coaching, to get her dream, which was coach an NWSL team after successful seasons as a college coach. She got the Orlando gig, and she came here, and with a young squad of a lot of young players, a lot of established players left the team, and she parted ways with that ownership of that other club. And it took time, and I think this was their best performance so far. It was a great goal from Sydney Leroux. Great game by Gunny John's daughter. I want to also say one of the center backs, usual center backs, which was Mega Montefusco, former Houston player. She actually played as a six in this game. So they used the kind of the Orlando City double six, right? So they had a six that went in the attack, which was Michaela Clough, and then they had her as a true six right there in the mid, and Carrie Lawrence, which usually is a winger, right? A left back or a right back. She plays a center back, and I think they play fantastic. I think the second
I'm
half,
sure did.
after Orlando scored, Angel City had a lot of chances. They're trying to create a lot of good plays, and then the back line was just superb. Great game by Tony Presley, by the whole back line just played tremendously.
Hmm.
And I think fans were looking for this team, right? So I'm hoping that moving forward, they're able to definitely replicate this and continue the winning streak, right?
No,
This was
absolutely.
this was the how they came out. Erin McLeod, a great performance by Erin McLeod. Again, you have Michaela Clough and Courtney Peterson. Eventually, Megan Montefusco came in instead of Courtney Peterson. Courtney Peterson went to her usual left back position, and Carrie Lawrence became the center back where Megan is. Darian Jenkins, great performance as well. Gani John's daughter, which is pretty much doing the Marta's job pretty much now.
Hmm.
She's going
Hmm.
more in the attack, going more forward. And then one of the players that honestly it's exciting to see her play is Leah Pruitt. And I want to say hello to her if she's watching. Um, she's been playing fantastic. And also Carrie Abello as well. Those two young ladies are playing tremendously. And, these three, I think, finally, and I actually talked to Coach Cromwell on post press conference. She said, "Yeah, this is the team now. This is the starting. So we're gonna do this. This
Great,
is
great.
this
And you know,
right. This is gonna be the back line. This is gonna be the front three, and for the next upcoming games, because the three up top, they communicated so well with each other. Sydney Leroux had a phenomenal game. Leah Pruitt, a very young player,
mhm.
very skilled player, very fast, um, and Darian Jenkins as well on the right wing.
And they went to a very hostile environment. This game was played at Bank of California, where LAFC plays their home games,
Right,
and they went and they smashed them in the mouth, literally within under 3 minutes they were ahead. And to quote former New York Jets coach Herm Edwards, who in 2002 was asked, "What's the greatest thing about sports?" His answer: "You play to win the game. I don't care if you have zero wins. You play to win the game. If you don't think it matters, then retire because it matters. That's word by word of his quote. I have remember that quote because you just go out there and play the game. The announcers never gave him any credit. The league sees Pride as a whipping boy. It's the easy 3 points, and the girls went out there and with no pride, no pun intended. They just basically humbly they just went over there and grinded that result. And I hope for the Pride that this is the beginning of many, many, many good things. A journey starts with one step, and obviously the girls did what they had to
Yeah.
do, and hopefully they will be able to do that in front of the home fans.
Yeah, I believe it wholeheartedly, Dave. I mean, honestly, I don't want to sound like I'm like a huge. I mean, I am. I am. I mean, I've seen these girls work so hard, and
Hmm.
seen them win, and at the what it meant, right? It was Mother's Day first and foremost. So Sidney Leroux scored in front of her family. She mentioned it at the press conference. In front of her, her children were there,
Hmm.
and they play the sport too now,
Hmm.
so at a young level, so that means a lot, right? And then for her to score and the way she scored at the stadium that she scored on, it was a beautiful. I mean, there was a lot of fans, a lot of LAFC and a lot of Angel City fans were there, and you know they play with such uh, winning mentality. I want to say, I think everything
Absolutely.
everything clicks so well that even the fans from the rival team, they stand up and applaud them. So I think that's they got an ovation just for winning. So I think that was great. And also the coach said that having Megan, which is the center back you see right here, she's wearing that purple headband, playing the six elevated essentially the game of Michaela Clough, for example, which
Hmm.
is the other midfielder. And I think, having players that are able to play different positions, it was going to be the ace of spades for this Pride in the next games. And, that's great that Coach Crum was able to definitely have all these options, and they're gelling now together, which it
Hmm.
shows. And Shinta0013 says, great teamwork all around. Lawrence brought the speed we needed a center back. Montefusco killed it at the 6 and Clough at the 8, even though Clough is really a 10. Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree. I think they both complemented very well. And Coach Crumble said that she's going to keep this system that
If
she
it
did.
ain't broke,
Don't fix it.
right,
I
just leave it
agree.
alone.
Shinta0013, great teamwork all around. Yeah, I'm super proud of them because I've seen what a lot of people have said about the team, and and it was just great for what it meant. And I've covered the team already. This is going to be my second year, and I can be nothing but proud of Courtney Peterson, Leah Pruitt, Darian Jenkins, Sid, Gunny, especially Gunny because she had to take she was a six. So, she was a defensive midfielder, and she had to essentially, after Marta's injury, turn herself into a 10 or
Hmm.
even a winger. So, it's a huge task that they had ahead, and I'm so happy
Yeah,
for them.
good deal. All right, Luis. So, what everybody's waiting for? Who won the 2 tickets to tomorrow's game? Which, by the way, were gifted to us by a listener friend, Mario. He is at I guess Caifangel 090, CAIFANGEL 090 on Twitter. Unfortunately, something came up for him, and he wanted these 2 tickets to go to good hands. People that are gonna show up and cheer on the Lions, and who that person is, Luis.
I'm gonna announce the winner right now. Hold on one second. I'm doing it right here. Okay, the winner is Nick. It says, I have it right here. His profiles on Twitter is RIP Kyle Pavone from Twitter.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
he was the
So,
one who won today. I just did it on my phone, the drawing. Only about 4 people honestly participated on
Yeah,
this.
it was last minute. We
Yeah,
understand that.
it was last minute. We totally understand. We're gonna do more
Hmm.
giveaways with a longer period of time, so everybody's able to participate.
No,
But
absolutely. So,
if
Nick, if you are obviously Luis is gonna tweet from the official account on Twitter and social media. So, what you need to do in order to get the tickets is you need to contact me at Florida underscore man 76. DM me your email address so I can transfer the tickets to you. They're on section 34. Two tickets right next to each other. So, and I'm gonna be sitting in section 34, so maybe perhaps you can say hello to me. So yes, Nick, please contact me, DM me at Florida underscore man 76, so I can go ahead and send you your tickets. Okay.
yeah, so that's his handle on Twitter at Nick underscore the underscore Neko or
Mhm.
Nico. He likes hardcore, so I see that he watches bands like Cruel Hand and things like that. So if you're watching, Nick, DM us. We're actually probably gonna contact you as well. And yeah, congratulations, and we'll see you at Exploria because I'll be there tomorrow. So very excited to definitely see. There's a tough schedule ahead, Dave. So hopefully the Lions are able to overcome. Any last words you want to say before we close out
Oh,
the
absolutely.
show
Just
today?
remind everybody, my vlog. I'm gonna be recording tomorrow all the experiences at the stadium. That's the legendary David on YouTube. Reminding everybody, northeast corner of the street, across from Central, on the sidewalk. Our friends from Orlando City Fan TV are gonna be there recording all impressions. Remember, friends, it's top quality. I enjoy the conversations and the interactions they have. This is not what you probably have seen in other clubs. It's not meant to denigrate any player, the club, or anything like that. If you're gonna be acting like an animal, guess what? You're gonna end up on the cutting room floor. So please support our friends there that are doing something, creating content for the club. And with that said, Luis, I think we had enough for one day.
Yeah, yeah. Before we go, I wanna definitely tell everybody we have our website. It's called loudandproudorlando.com. You can just go in there. We have all of our editorials right here posted. Like for example, Orlando City. You know, our last editorial against the Montreal game is right here. Thank you to Orlando City Communications for the pictures that we use. We have for when we won against you know. Different games from Orlando City. Essentially,
Mhm.
all the games are right here. We also have it for Orlando Pride. The new article for Orlando Pride is coming out today, later on, like probably in the next few hours. Should be uploaded. If anything, check it out. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as you can see at the banner below. You can listen to us if you're not watching it or if you're at work. Make sure that you're find us as Loud and Proud Orlando. We're there. Thank you so much for everybody that's listening to us. And also, I want to, um, give thanks to everybody that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. We're almost to the 400 mark. We're very close. Spread the word around about the show. We're live every Monday at 8:30. Every Monday at 8:30, we're live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell for all notifications. We're also available on Facebook, also on Twitter at LPO underscore podcast. And also, I want to go ahead and show we're also on Instagram now as Loud and Proud Orlando. So right here, um, at LPO underscore podcast. So subscribe, give us a like, check us out. All of our content will be right here. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching us. We'll be back next Monday live again. And vamos Orlando, right, Dave?
Yep, vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.